Hey mom setters, happy Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, because of the holiday, I can't even keep the day straight. It's so crazy. But my name is Amanda Haywood, and I first wanted to hop on and I wanted to say welcome to all of our new mom setters. We are so happy that you are here, and we're really hoping that you get a lot of value out of this mom setter community. We are just a great group of moms who are all doing our best here, and we're here to support one another. And so we're really glad that you are here. Now, my live today is titled Over or Under Communicator. Which one are you and how do you know? So you guessed it, we're going to talk about communication today and why communicating is so important. I've struggled with communication. Has anybody else here ever struggled with communication? If you have, you can type me, that's me, in the chat, right? So here's a couple of things I'm going to start with. I'm going to explain a little bit about what an over and an under communicator is. So are you an over communicator? Are you somebody that is very thorough, very detail oriented, trying to get your point across, and sometimes you can waste time really trying to be super detailed, okay? If that's you, just type a 1 in the chat. You might be an over communicator if you're always thinking of the next thing that you're going to say. If you say goodbye more than one time in a conversation, people walk away while you're talking. Or maybe you lecture your kids for an extended period of time and you keep repeating the same information. Does any of that sound familiar? Or are you an under communicator? An under communicator is somebody that talks less. Maybe they hold back their feelings, hold back their opinions. Maybe you think that people already understand what you're going to say and they already know what the point is to your conversation. Or maybe you're just afraid of speaking your opinion and maybe offending the other person. You don't really want to confront them. You don't want to make them feel bad. And so you hold back and you don't really talk about what you're thinking or talk about what's bothering you. You may be an under communicator if people have to ask you, what did you mean by that? If you don't think that people follow your directions very well, that could be if you are, say, trying to give some directions to your kids, right? Or maybe like me, you're a teacher, and people have to follow your directions. You don't do things that you want to do because you don't speak up, right? Or you do things that you don't want to do because you're not speaking up. That can go both ways. And maybe you feel like people fail to live up to your expectations. So if those are some things that you're feeling, you might be an under communicator. So I really want you to think about a couple of those things. And if you know what you are, an over or an under, I want you to type it in the chat now. So here are a few tips that will help you if you are an over communicator. Remember, that's that person that's very detailed, that has a hard time saying bye on conversations. Here are 4 tips for you. Be a good listener, okay? Don't always feel like you have to get in every single word and have to control the conversation. Really try to listen more to what the other person is saying. Tip number 2, practice short goodbyes, right? Say goodbye one time and then get off the phone or end the conversation. Number 3, use short sentences in your emails and make sure you're using your subject line to keep you on target. And then number 4, understand proper social media etiquette. Now here are some tips, again, 4 tips for you to use if you are an under communicator, and I think I'm an under communicator. So number 1, ask people to confirm that they heard your directions and repeat them back to you. So that's something that would be super good and helpful for your kids. Number 2, be willing to risk discomfort by speaking up when you disagree with somebody. That one could be a tough one. I know right now that's making me kind of get anxious thinking about it. Number 3, abide by the proper use of social media. And then number 4, if you have children that are under communicators and say they sit down to work on their homework or an assignment, this would be a perfect time for you to ask them, hey, do you have any homework tonight? Do you have a permission slip that I need to fill out? Do you have anything that I need to help you with? Because they might not remember and they might not want to speak up and say anything. So this would be a good way to start a conversation and to help them get better at communicating with you. So why do we not always communicate well? Why do we not communicate well, right? It's something that we're all given the ability to do. Talk, conversate with people. Why are there times where it's hard for us to communicate? So one of the things is that we've all grown up in different circumstances, in different situations, all in different environments, right? And maybe you grew up in a home where there were poor communication patterns. There was a poor communication style, right? Maybe you all kept your feelings to yourself. You always acted like everything was fine. You didn't want to bother people with your problems, okay? And that could have been something that was just your environment that you were used to. And so you took that into your adult life. The second thing is we think the other person should be able to read our mind and understand what we want and need. This is a big one, especially with like your spouses. I know there are times where I expect my husband to understand and know exactly what I'm thinking, and I am completely wrong for doing that, right? So sometimes I'll think he's going to help with something or do something because I think he knows what I need without telling him. And then I get mad, right? Because I haven't said anything, I haven't told him what I needed or anything. And it's like, just tell the other person what you need, because how are they supposed to know, right? I don't know what other people are thinking, so why would I expect them to know what I'm thinking, right? And then we think that venting is healthy communication. So it's important that we have somebody to communicate and talk with, right? So if we're ever going through a situation and we need to talk with somebody, it's important that we can do that. But there's a difference between gossiping and complaining about things, because when you're gossiping and complaining, all that's doing is bringing you into a negative vibration and bringing negative energy around you. And this is going to lead to more gossip, more complaining, and this can even break or damage relationships. So you've got to be careful. There's that fine line of really having a conversation with somebody about something that's bothering you or just getting something off your chest, as opposed to complaining and gossiping. So before I get off of this live, I want to see if we can identify all day, every day, motorcycles, loud trucks going by. It's crazy, right? But I want you guys to see if you can identify your preferred communication style, okay? So there are 4 types. There is face-to-face, which is like in person, having a conversation with somebody. And this is helpful because you can actually read their body language, right? So you can tell, like if someone's standing there with their arms crossed like this, you can tell that, hey, I might have said something that pissed them off, or they're upset about something, right? That you might not be able to tell with a different way of communicating. So face-to-face, you can read their body language. The second one is a phone call. And a phone call is usually a great way to detect tone. You can't see their body language, but you can hear it in their voice. And so you can actually, have a pretty good understanding of how a conversation is going and how the other person is feeling. And you can get your message across pretty clearly in a phone call. Third way is through email. So this is a way to have like multiple conversations with people. It's easy, you can do this quick, but the problem is that the written word can be misunderstood and you can't tell tone from an email. So you might want to use something like a smiley face or a little emoji or something like that that can help you really convey the type of feeling that you're having, right? And then number 4 is texting. So again, quick, it's easy. It's kind of like the new thing that people, not the new thing, but it's like the easiest way to communicate. That's one of my favorite ways, right? And again, you can't detect the tone. So make sure that you're using the little emojis. Like if you're happy about something, it's like, hey, like I'm happy, right? And if you're pissed off or you're upset or you need to talk about something, make sure you use the appropriate emoji. And again, if it's something where it could be misinterpreted or misunderstood, or it's something that's super important that a text or an email can't, convey this message, then you really should chat with somebody either face-to-face, or if you can't do face-to-face, then over the phone. So knowing your preferred style is going to be super helpful, especially when you're communicating with others. And it's the best way to communicate, right? if you know your preferred method. Now, it's not always possible to use your preferred method. Like, I would prefer to text, but someone else that I need to talk with might prefer the phone. So if I know that they prefer the phone, then that would probably be something I would do, so that I would make sure that our communication was understood on both sides, right? Now, I'm going to leave you with this tip. And I found this information from a book I was reading, and I thought this was super helpful. So if you want to find out someone's preferred style of communication, call them, all right? Now, if they don't answer, leave a voicemail. If they call you back, then more than likely this person is a phoner, right? They don't mind chatting on the phone. If they text you back, their preferred communication is probably texting. If they email you back, their preferred communication is probably emailing. Now, again, you could say, well, they were busy, they didn't have time to call, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. But this is just kind of like a general rule that might help with that. Or you can send someone an email asking a simple question. And again, if they text you the answer, more than likely they're a texter. If they call you, more than likely they're a phoner. And if they email you, then more than likely they are an emailer. So I know I gave you a ton of points today about under communication, over communication. I probably over communicated with you guys today, right? Not gonna lie here. I gave you some tips to help you if you're an over communicator and an under, and again, just why we don't always communicate the best, right? Some reasons behind that, and then knowing your preferred style. And there are 4 preferred styles: face-to-face, phone call, email, or texting. What I will do is I will type this up and put this in the live so that you can refer back to these notes if you found this useful, and hopefully you'll be able to communicate easily and readily, and just be able to make those connections and those relationships with people moving forward. So again, mom setters, hope I didn't over communicate to you today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you again next time. Mwah.